rise up, whoa, not gonna give up, whoa, we're gonna rise up, whoa, we're gonna rise up, whoa, not gonna give up, whoa, we're gonna rise up, yeah, oh, we're gonna rise up.
Welcome to Rise Up, hosted by me, Steve Collum. I'm so excited that you're here today and that you're going to be spending this little bit of time listening to this amazing interview with Joh Merkus. He has an awesome story, and he's one of my kin. He's an Aussie, and he was actually born in the same town, same city as I was born in, and so down in Melbourne, Victoria, and so in Australia. So yeah, this is going to be an amazing interview, and we're going to be really diving in and talking about how he kind of how coaching is really important, has really helped him along. I'm a big advocate, and I'm a big believer in making sure that you surround yourself with people who you want to be like. If you look around the people that you're hanging around and listening to and talking to, and in this day and age, in this digital world, that includes the Facebook groups you're in. That includes the people that you're hanging around, the people you're following on Instagram, the people that you're reading what they're doing, the people that you're following. Those are all the people in your group. And there's that old saying that you become like the people you hang around, and it's so true. And we talk about that in this interview with Joh, and we talk about some upcoming things that he's actually planning and doing. He's creating his amazing new business, which I won't give it away, and so you can listen to his kind of strategy and see what kind of get inside his philosophy on how he is structuring his businesses, and bringing some of the practical things, bringing some of the things that the things that you've learned throughout the years, bringing that into a new company or a new business. He's a serial entrepreneur just like myself, and he's been very successful in the things he's doing, and he's got big dreams and some big goals ahead. And so this is going to be a great interview, and I'm so excited you're here. But just before we start, I wanted to let you know, this might be the first time you've listened to this podcast, but the reason I started this podcast was because my stillborn son was born in the beginning of this year, and he never got to take a breath of life, and I really wanted to give him a voice. I really wanted to his life mattered, so I wanted to give him and somehow give him a voice, or give him a purpose, that he actually did impact people and help people. And I thought, well, maybe I should start a podcast with inspirational and motivational messages, and I thought that would be an awesome opportunity for that. He inspired that, and I wanted to do it for him, and so I'm shining the light, and it's because of him. This is, I wanted to do it. So he's making the world, even though he never took a breath of air. Asher is changing the world, and so he's making the world brighter, and I'm just so excited about that. But in saying that, I want to ask you guys and invite you to become a sponsor or a partner with me. If you head over to patreon.com/Steve Collum, then you can partner with me there, and you can buy me a coffee, buy me a lunch there, which is fun. And but then also, it really helps if you could actually do a 5-star review. Reviews are how this all works, and so and share it with your friends. Let anyone else know that what you got out of this, or share it with your friends, because we really, me and Asher really want this world to be a brighter place because he was here. And but anyway, let's think about that and head over to the Facebook group, of course, which is Rise Up with Steve Collum, and join the community there and join the group there. So awesome. Let's go ahead and dive in, and this is going to be great. Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be with Joh Merkus today. Joh has got quite a colorful background, and you've done a lot of things, and you've been very successful, and you've worked with some huge companies in Australia. So a lot of my listeners are actually, people are from all over, but where I live, obviously, is in the States, in Colorado, and John actually is living, and he's moved around a little bit and traveled a lot, but he's actually living in the state that I was born in. So it's a full circle for me. And just off air, we were just talking about some of the places that he was naming some of the names, and I remember one of them, and it was that was good. But thanks so much for hanging out with us, and this is going to be really fun. And gosh, as I said before, you've had a huge, very colorful background. You've done a lot of public speaking. You've done a lot of inspirational. But one of the cool things I noticed, which is my world, is the music world, and I noticed that you're. I think you said you're a drummer and songwriter, producer. I'm curious about. I want to dive into some of those things. But welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Steve, absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm a fan of yours. I've been listening to the I'd Give You the World album and really enjoying that. And I'm also interested in a bit more of your stuff as well. So I think it's going to be a nice two-way situation today.
Oh, absolutely. Great. That definitely. Yeah, it's so tell me a little bit about your music. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you kind of got started, or especially with the music side of things.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. So I learnt the drums in high school. I've had a pretty supportive family. The youngest of four. I don't know if that, the youngest seems to get away with a bit more, but I've had a very supportive family. And believe it or not, I don't know if I'd do it for my kids. I asked for a drum kit and I got one. So I started playing, had lessons, and really enjoyed it. And that sense of rhythm really holds me in good stead even today. Just listening to music, it must be like you're listening for different things as you're hearing things. And then I moved out of the family home, and it wasn't really practical to have a drum kit where I was living. So I heard a lot of people saying, well, the bass guitar is pretty in that kind of genre as well. It's not the same as percussion, but it's in that. I don't know. You probably know the right musical term for it, but
no, you're right. You're exactly right. It's right in the family. It's the drums and the bass go together. Yep.
Yeah, in the family. There you go. And so I had some bass guitar lessons, which I liked, but it didn't really grab me. And I actually did learn something from my bass teacher that I carry through through all my life, which is I turned up to a lesson one day and I said, Mikey, I didn't get time to practice during the week, but I practiced an hour yesterday. And he said, John, that's great, but you're better off doing 5 or 10 minutes a day than a 1 hour block.
Yeah.
And so that's what I found with a lot of things in life, doing it more regularly in short bursts instead of a big dose. It really helps you with your brain and remembering and all that kind of stuff. So, so that was Mikey. Good on you, Mikey. And then I stopped playing the bass. I've still got it. I've still got all, except for the drum kit, still got all my instruments. Mm-hmm. And then I was going out with a girl who played a little bit of guitar, and I picked up her acoustic guitar, and then my fingers hurt, and she showed me a couple of things, and I thought, oh yeah, no, I'd love to play, but it's just too hard. And then I picked it up again, and then she showed me a couple of things, and I went, oh, this is starting to sound a bit like music.
Yeah.
And then I bought my own, and then I just sat with it, and I didn't have any lessons. I just got sounds out of it and played really simple things. And I just enjoyed the tones and hearing what I was hearing. And then I started hanging around with some people that were playing guitar, and they showed me a few chords. And then I just started playing those chords over and over and going, oh my God, this is music. Not because I'm coming from drumming, right? So someone says, play me a song. You go, oh yeah, it's like they wouldn't even know what you play, right? But
Yeah,
whereas
you
the
know what song
guitars,
this is? You know what song this is? No.
yeah, that's right. So I then had some writings that I'd put down. So in the previous to that, if I'd had some kind of emotional upheaval or whatever, I'd write.
Yeah.
So a lot of my songs, so those writings turned into songs.
Right.
And so some of those songs are not. So when people hear my music, they go, "John, you're such a positive, uplifting guy. What's with the music?"
It's melancholy, or yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little, uh, yeah, I wouldn't say dark, but it's on the the whatever side that is. So not all the songs, but a few.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going back to my bass teacher, Mikey, who had a home studio, and said, I've got these songs. I'd love to record them. So every week I'd go to his place and we'd record the songs. He'd play the bass on them. I played the guitar for a couple of them, but I had a friend, James, who's an awesome guitarist, and he just got a great ear. You can listen to any song and just say, oh, yeah, that's E, D, A, whatever, and just do it. And so he played guitar on some of the songs too. And then we got a drummer in that played, awesome drummer. And over the course of about a year or so, I had 5 acoustic tracks ready. So I call it acoustic rock. And so I launched that EP back in the days when you had CDs and an EP, and had a great time, and I did it. So that's how I was kind of journey. But when I was when I got into music, what I call late, right? So I only started playing guitar in my early 30s.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I'm still in awe. I've got my Les Paul over there and my Marshall amp and my acoustic Yamaha.
Nice. Yeah.
And sometimes when I pick it up and I just play some stuff, it's like I'm watching someone else. Like, I'm so happy. It's so amazing. So, that power of music, you know it very, very, very well. But that power in music really works for me. And if I need to uplift my state, there's a few songs that I know I can just put on, and away I go. So yeah, power of music, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's definitely something I see. And so many times, the producer of a TV show or something would be like, we don't want to tell everybody to feel sad, but we need sad music. You need to bring it as the musician. You need to make everybody feel sad. And then the character just says something like, oh, you're leaving or something. But they need everybody to be on the side of, feeling happy or sad or feeling weird, or like, so the character says, the actor says, I'm leaving. And then they have quirky music on, then it's like, what's going on? So absolutely, yeah. There is so much power in music, and that's so exciting that you're still jamming and you're doing. I think that's really cool. And you have a Spotify, don't you? Or you have a
Yeah, I've got I ended up recording 5 more songs as well of James's songs, which is good because James is an awesome musician, but I'm more of the let's get this recorded and out there, where he's more like, I did that and whatever, because he's busy and everything as well. And so I said, well, can I record them? And so he said, yeah. So I ended up recording those 5 as well. So they became unreleased. And during COVID, I just investigated what it takes to put some music up on Spotify, and it wasn't too hard. And I had all the tracks all mixed, all really good studio quality. And so I uploaded that album in 2020 during the COVID years, and it was another one of those bucket list things. So firstly, I never thought I'd be able to play music. I never thought I'd record music. I never thought I'd play live, and I never thought I would have my songs available to millions around the world. So, just one of those things in life. My mum used to say, you never know where life's going to take you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my musical journey has just been a pleasure. I Some people call me the rock star, but I think that's more about my early partying days than my musical ability. So I did think at some point I did want to make a career out of it, but it's been more of a hobby. I'm really happy with where it's been, and
Yeah.
on my birthday sometimes I'll do a bit of a concert and have some friends at a bar or whatnot, and do a bit of stand-up comedy and do a bit of music as well, and that kind of keeps it alive.
That's great. That's great. And one of the things that goes hand in hand with that, and obviously you're doing the performances, you're doing the stand up, which that's cool. One of the things I know you've been very successful and you work with some big clients is your public speaking and holding big workshops and that kind of thing. So tell me, how did you get into that, and how did you build that when 99% of the population out there are afraid to stand up and say anything in front of three people, and so how did you kind of get into that, and what were some of the fears that you had to kind of overcome public speaking and building those businesses?
Yeah, it's a good question, Steve, and I'm fascinated by it as well, because for me it feels natural and something that lights my fire. Like if you love playing tennis and you're on the tennis court and you were playing tennis and you were just joyful with that, I get that feeling from doing the speaking. And I thought about it a fair bit, thinking, where does that come from? My father was in local politics for a while, or for a long time, actually, 30 years. And so I used to see him speaking from a very young age. In fact, there's a picture of my mum holding me as a baby, and my dad, he was the mayor of Sandringham back then. And then I was on the front page of the local paper, and it said, "Is this going to be the next mayor of Sandringham?" And it's me as a baby. So I guess all my life he was in that local politics genre, and I'd see him speaking. And I've since learned that a lot of kids often do follow in their parents' footsteps.
Yep.
You just look at Tiger Woods' son and things like that. So I guess when you're seeing that, it's and you look up to your parents, and I probably thought, well, he's not showing any fear, and he's doing it, and he's loving it, and that just kind of got ingrained into me, I suppose. That's the only thing I could think of, because I have thought about it. And look, I get nervous as well, but it's more of an exciting nervous. And there's so much to learn and know in that area as well. Dealing with yourself, knowing what you're going to say. If you're confident in what you're going to say, that helps a lot. Yeah. It's a bit like performing, right? If you know the words and you know the songs and you've rehearsed them and you love them, it's going to be a bit easier than if you don't. So I've been lucky enough to be in the corporate world as well, contracting to those major companies, as you say. And a lot of my job is speaking to people and doing the public speaking. So I've been able to do it contracting and also kind of solo, if you know what I mean. Right. So the majority of the corporate work that I've done is in the change management space. So that's dealing with the people side of change. So if there's a big change going on in an organization, they'll get me in to help manage the people side of change, which I absolutely love. And part of that is speaking. So I think you've seen a couple of photos of me, one with a major telco here in Australia, Telstra, and they were changing their ways of working. So instead of working in silos and doing a whole bunch of things, they took on the agile way of working, which I absolutely love. And part of that is getting groups and teams together to organize what they're going to work on. Well, firstly, to meet and build some rapport and all that kind of human side of stuff, and then work out what they're going to work on. So I was one of a team of people that put that together, and I was lucky enough to do some of those gigs and conferences where I'd have 400 people in front of me, and I'd have a team of people helping manage the event, and I was going, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. I just get up there and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to have a bit of fun, and so and I think that comes across. And one of the highlights is you can play rock paper scissors. I did it with 400 people. So what you do is you get people to turn to the person, they stand up and turn to the person next to them, and they play that, and then the loser has to then become the crowd for the person that just won, and they pick another person to play. So that by the end of it, you end up having two people rocking off, and the crowd is rooting for either side, because you've got to root for the person you lost against, right? And it just keeps building and building and building. So things like that, that really lights my fire, highlight of my career, and I would have a bit of fun, get the job done, and pay the bills along the way. So to me, that's living.
I love it. I think that's so cool. And there's so much entrepreneurship that you've had to work on, and whether or not it's been easy. And I think it's so cool. And I always encourage the listeners to find what you're passionate about. And obviously, John, this is something John does easy. It's not work, that's where he's like, what? And I'm actually going to get a paycheck at the end of this. What's okay, and finding that thing that you love to do and that's easy, I think it's just so key. And then but I'm sure there's been quite a few little or maybe some big hurdles that you've had to overcome through the years. I don't know if you want to share on any of those, as that might help the audience to be like, oh, so you didn't just arrive from the newspaper clipping, all of a sudden that was it. And you're like, what were some things that you really had to kind of you shared a little bit before, that lesson on doing that little bit every day, and I'm sure you're doing that now, even with your we're going to talk about in a minute about this new project that I'm really excited about. It's the same journey that I'm kind of on at the moment. But what are some things that you've had to overcome for yourself that possibly people could be like, oh, that's me too, or I need to work on that something?
Yeah, and thanks for asking, Steve, because part of what I'm doing, and whether it's the speaking or the podcast or whatever, you've got to deal with yourself, because it comes up, and I've noticed this. I don't know if I've just been more cognizant of it, but I've noticed this being around in the media as well, as this imposter syndrome, right? So you think, oh, are people going to listen to me? Do I really have anything to say? And those kind of thoughts really need to be managed, right? Because when you look around, you think, well, other people are doing it. And then I ask myself the question, why not me? Yeah. Why not me? I think I've got the desire and the passion to do these certain things. So why not me? And other things that I've learned through a lot of the personal development courses that I've done is, look, there's been millions of years before I arrived on the planet, depending on your beliefs and whatever, but let's just say millions of years. Scientists will say the Earth's been around for 2 billion, or is it 4 billion? I don't know, whatever years. And that's
a million. Do you know how much a million is? Like,
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Even 1 billion years, 1,000 million. I just can't. Yeah, it's a long time, right? Stuff's been happening for a long time before I got here. Mm-hmm. And the chances of us being here are trillions to one, right? You probably heard that as well. But so there's been heaps of time before we got here. It's a trillion to one that I'm actually here. And there's going to be millions of years after I go. The universe will continue. Yeah. Even though sometimes I think it revolves around me. But
of course, we all think that at some point.
Yeah, that's right. We're all living in our own body. So I've got this really small slice of time, when you look at it in that context. So the question becomes, what am I going to do with my slice of time? Yeah. Right. And that is a really profound question to ask yourself. So I guess in answering your question, it's really been about managing those negative thoughts, because everything starts with a thought, right? every emotion that you feel, you think something before you feel that emotion. Right? When I learned that in a Wayne Dyer book. That just blew my mind. It's like, because you go along life and I don't know, you're bumping around, you're doing whatever, and you have these feelings, and I feel this way and I feel that way, whatever. And then someone says to you, which is obvious, and once you know, it makes so much sense. And a lot of this stuff is like that, or a reminder. You kind of have this intuitive knowledge, but it's really nice to get it pointed out that you think something before you feel something. So
wow, John, thank you so much. What an amazing chat with you. What an amazing message, and I can't wait to see and hear more. I think we'll be getting you back on the show, and I know that I'm going to be chatting on your show sometime soon. So I'm really excited, that you're building your business, John's building his alongside mine, and it's so great when great minds think alike, or when you partner with another positive person. So awesome work. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, John. And I want to give you guys, the listeners, this it really matters to me what like that you're getting something out of this, and I really want to give you bump up your day somehow. It's like, a cup of coffee in the morning gives you a little bit of a bump up, a little bit of a kickstart to the day, and the same as this podcast. I want it to be a place where you can where it bumps up your day a little bit. It just makes your day just that tiny little bit more positive, and that is the whole goal. And so if you want to be and if you do find yourself going, oh, I feel a little bit better after listening to Rise Up with Steve Collum, then maybe consider giving us a 5-star review, heading over to the to wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it's Spotify or iTunes podcast. Then consider giving us a 5-star review. It doesn't take too long, and it really helps this podcast float to the top and helps other people. And so you in turn would be helping other people, helping me, of course, me and Asher, and helping other people, sharing the light and the love out there. So, but thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Whoa, we're gonna rise up. Whoa, not gonna give up. Whoa, we're gonna rise up.